I'm Nils, and I want to welcome you to my video series. Thought about putting some instructional tapes together for you guys to check out some, to talk about the tricks and little techniques I use, and to show you some other tools. All right. I base a lot of this on the book. I have a book called How to Make Your Guitar Talk, which is available online as a download or as a hard copy. Let's jump right in. I want to start with really, first of all, in this introduction, just talk a little bit how I think about improvisation. And to me, improvisation is like instant composition. I'm coming up with a melody on the spot when I improvise. There's no turning back or fixing notes like we are in the studio. But it has to be a melody, and it's a melody supposed to come from inside you. Unfortunately, as a guitar player, we are very easily drawn into that spot where we're just reciting technical exercises that we practiced, and we need to get away from that, practice other things as well to really complement the technique with really creative ideas. Because ideally, improvisation is playing a solo is like a story. You have a beginning, a climax, and end, like in a good novel. You want to take the audience from one place to the other. So the structure of the solo is very important. You want to create this great arc to build up to more and more intensity to a climax point, and then end it gracefully. So simple ideas, not just to waste your best licks and runs right at the top, but kind of ease your way in and work into that. I also want to talk a little bit about phrasing. Phrasing is basically, these are our musical sentences. And again, sax players have a natural better phrasing than guitar players because they need to breathe in between their phrases. They need to make little commas and sentences just to take air in. On the guitar, and on a keyboard for that matter, you could just noodle on forever without ever taking a pause, and it becomes this endless string of notes that's hard to comprehend. When we talk, we also make sentences in order to let somebody else process what you just did. The same is true for improvisation. You want to take the audience in, you take them somewhere, so they need to be able to follow you. One thing I was talking about in my book too is about technique versus feeling. Technique obviously is important to execute your ideas cleanly. If you have a great idea and you just stumble over your fingers, can't execute it, then that idea won't come across. So you need to practice technique to cleanly execute your ideas. The trap is, as I mentioned earlier, if that's all you're doing, you're gonna sound like a GIT student that just graduated. Most of them sound just like have note diarrhea, playing fast, long licks and note and note and note, and they don't really say anything. It's just a recital of notes and licks and exercises that they've done. So technique is good in one thing, but you need to counterbalance it with melodic ideas. It's not about the technique. The technique is just basically what's enable you to do what you to execute what you're feeling. And the feeling is really what captures the audience. After all, improvisation is a communication, and the most successful solos and musical communication is when the audience feels what I feel. If I can transfer the excitement I have to somebody else listening. And it's basically a transference from emotion through sound, which is a wonderful thing. I love it when it happens, and it's always a challenge, but that's one thing that gets overlooked a lot of times when in instructional manuals when you practice. How do I communicate with the person? So what is feeling? And that's a very vague thing, but there are some certain elements about what we associate with a player with feeling, that we can actually take apart, study, and improve upon. It has to do with phrasing, continuity, structure of the melodic ideas, the touch, the tone I get in the fingers is very important for that. My execution of vibrato, bends, the choice of notes. These are all things that contribute to the feeling and can be practiced. And last here, my introduction, I want to really touch on my thinking of what are scales, arpeggios, intervals, octaves. What are these things have to do with the actual performance? All these elements I consider to be tools. A scale, a blues scale, everybody, that's probably the first thing everybody learns is a pentatonic or blues scale on the guitar at least. And maybe a little bit more advanced are arpeggios, broken down chords. Those are tools to draw upon, but what we still need is a blueprint how to build a house. These are just the tools. What we want to build is the house. So if you just concentrate on the tools, which are important, you also need the blueprint with how to apply them, how to make it work. And those are some of the things I want to get into. I want to, in this series, probably talk about a couple of the tools and then how to apply them in a musical context. Okay, so this is enough for the introduction. I hope you guys join me for the next installment, and I'll see you then. Take care.